Yo, today I want to talk about sacrifice. The harsh reality is that you're going to have to sacrifice some things in your life as opposed to others. You gotta go, you can go a few different directions, but you cannot say that, okay, I'll, pursue my health, my wealth, and my relationships, right? The big three, all at the same time. you know like it's pretty much impossible. So then what do? Yes, you can, for the most part, keep two of them, but you can only keep two. You know what I'm saying? You can have health and wealth, but you're gonna be socially isolated. You could have maybe be social and wealthy, but then you're not healthy. Or maybe you are social and healthy, but not wealthy, because these things take up a bunch of time. Nowadays it's very popular. Like, I know how this trend with health is very similar to the trend that was happening a few years ago with fitness. It's very, very similar. It's almost the same, actually. A lot of people get obsessed with this thing to the point that it kind of cancels what even it started. People are starting to care so much about health, at least, this is not in every community, but, people nowadays, like, talking about repeat and all that is mainstream. I don't necessarily really agree that much with Ray Pitt. I mean, he's way better than most, that's for sure, but eating a ton of sugar is not really the way to go. But that's besides the point. People are interested in this type of stuff now, and they get deeper and deeper into this rabbit hole to the point that they, leave this whole thing just to be healthy, right? They do so many things just to be healthy, which in turn makes them unhealthy. Like, people spend the whole day, people are like, oh, so today I did a cortisol minimizing, bro. I sat in the sun for 1 hour. When I woke up, I grounded, I meditated, I stretched, I read a book. And then, the day finished. And I walked 10K steps, 20K steps, whatever. And then they finished. And people are like, oh, that was a good day, Like, maybe it's good for health, but like, come on, that's taking your whole day. That's not realistic. Like, it's realistic if you're unemployed, if you're, I don't know, goatees, I don't know. You just sit inside and make some videos and then you can live the rest of the day. For most of us, that's not the case. And that's also not the case in terms of relationships. Like, nowadays, some people would really say that that's a productive day. Am I saying that that's not necessarily productive day? I mean, it's not really. If you don't really interact with humans like that, it's not. It's no different than the motherfucker who went to the gym for like 3 hours, then researched about the gym for another 3 hours, then went to bed. I ain't gonna lie, I was that guy, and I see the same thing happening with health, right? So, but that's besides the point, right? You gotta sacrifice some things over others. People, you cannot just use all three of them at the same time, because if you try to, maximize all of them at the same time, sure, your health is not going to be the worst, your social life is not going to be the worst, and your wealth is not going to be the worst. But you might actually not catch any rabbit, You cannot really be a jack of all trades, So, a lot of people get frustrated with this because they're like, what the fuck do? I I want all of these three things, and that's normal. That's what every human on earth really wants. You're not different from wanting all those things. But you gotta realize that these are lifetime goals, right? So, really, what I believe should be most important to me, at least, to try to maximize all of them, but not at the same time, right? So you could take a few blocks here and there of just doing this and just doing that. I'm not saying that if you're on a block of relationships, you just are unemployed for a couple of months. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that you could maintain, or you could just scale back on your business if you can. Of course, that's if you can, right? Assuming you can, this is how you manage your free time, which everybody has. You are lying if you're saying you don't, but so you can take a couple of blocks and be like, okay, I'm just gonna do this. I'm gonna focus on my business, and I'm gonna let relationships on the side for the most part. Now, this is scary, and this is very important. If you're gonna do a block where you're like, oh, I'm completely gonna shut off myself from the world, I'm going full monk mode, don't do it for too long. I do not recommend going monk mode for a year, because you might get rich. You might. Here's the thing: you might. Even going monk mode for a year doesn't guarantee you anything. And that's the worst case scenario. You waste like a year. I mean, you haven't wasted it because, well, you've probably learned a lot in that 1 year if you really worked every day on your business for 1 year. But here's the thing. If you do end up actually doing something and getting rich, how is that really going to help you if now you basically got to start from ground zero with your friendships? Because you do. I mean, you've locked yourself out for a year. You're basically a stranger to basically everybody in your life, right? So then I don't think that's worth it to me, And not to mention that it's going to be very hard for you to get back. Very hard. You might actually dilute yourself into be like, yeah, I'm making good money right now, but I want to make more money, so I will lock myself for another year. Well, that's really cope, right? You're just because now doing the business work is easy because you've gotten used to it, and you do the easy thing, quote easy, right? It's never going to be easy. None of these things are ever going to be easy like that. I mean, sitting in the sun is not that difficult, but besides that, same thing. Like if a guy just decides to screw around and just fuck a bunch of bitches, on a daily basis, it's like, okay, what is really the point of this? Like, okay, at first he wanted to get experience, whatever, but at some point that just becomes degenerate behavior, right? There is a balance to things. Just like the guy who's like sitting in the sun all day, is that good for you? Yeah, probably, but like at some point you gotta actually live the life. Like you got healthy, not to, I don't know, to me it's stupid to get healthy just to be more healthy. Like the goal is not health, if you know what I mean. Like, and that's that's very controversial to say nowadays, but yeah, get healthy, but get healthy to live, not get healthy to get more healthy. Like it doesn't make sense, right? Like, at some point you gotta be, okay, that's enough. Like, just like with the gym, I think it's stupid to, maybe after 10 years of lifting, I can gain more muscle. But like you see these guys who are doing crazy bulks, and crazy cuts after like 15 years of lifting just to gain like 1 to 2, 3 pounds of muscle in like 2 years. Like at some point you gotta ask yourself if that's worth it or if it's just an obsession, you know? Like, couldn't you use that time to actually work on something else, build a new skill, learn how to dance? I don't fucking know. But you know what I mean? So, yes, sacrificing, you should sacrifice because we cannot catch every rabbit at once. And if you do try to catch every rabbit at once, that is not sustainable long term. You will see that some things will naturally take priorities over others. Usually, the things that take priorities are the things that are easier for you to do. And the things that are harder for you to do will naturally be less present in your day, right? If you're used to just locking in and working, your relationships, even though at first you might be like, oh no, it's because I'm going out every day. No, I'm not saying going out every day is good. I'm just saying that, I'm giving you an example here. If your goal were to go out every day, at some point you'll be like, oh, but I got some more work to do. I guess I'll not go out today. And slowly, you stop going out at all. Again, I'm not saying going out every day is a good thing. This is the example. Like if the goal that you proposed, you're not following it anymore because you realize that it's a bit harder for you to do than it is for you to do the other thing that is also your goal. Like there is nobody that's like is 33% of all those things: health, relationships and business. I feel like especially health because a lot of people delude themselves into be like, yeah, I'm gonna wake up, see the sunrise, sit for 2 hours in front of the sun with my feet on the ground, then go for a walk, then eat breakfast, then go for another walk to do the digestion work, and then I'm gonna work out in the park, and then that's cool, but like, don't you have things to do? You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, if you're in a period where you really need to optimize your health because you got some sort of problem, or I'm not going to get into details, but of course, optimize that health. Like, if you're already pretty good, why are you being so unemployed when you're broke? You know what I mean? Like, or that you need to be more social or whatever, and you're over here going on 2-hour walks. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta look at your priorities. You gotta look at your priorities and I don't know how often you switch them. It depends on the person. But I'm just saying it shouldn't be too long of a period, Like, I would say maybe a month, because more than a month is kind of bad, because then you gotta get rusty at other things. Like I said, you could have a longer period. For example, if you do 50% of the day I work, and then the rest of the day I make sure that my health is decent, and I try to communicate with people, try to be social. Okay, you can do that period for longer, But if you're going on a period of, I'm going monk mode for however much time you want, then you gotta be really careful, because if you really push everything else to the side, then things deteriorate much quicker. You know what I mean? It's like going to the gym, right? You can take a deload week, no problem. Like 1 week, right? 1 week, 2 weeks, deload is fine. Yeah, you'll come back, you'll be a little sore, but it's fine. But then the problem comes when you're trying to, if you don't go to the gym for a month, you already start to lose muscle. You know what I mean? And then anyone would tell you who, didn't go to the gym for like 1 year, like you lose basically all your muscle. You know what I mean? And that's exactly the same thing what happens with your other, pillars of life, right? The same thing. I love the gym analogy because you can really use it for a bunch of different things. So I would say this: be careful. Yes, sacrificing is a must. You need to sacrifice. You cannot satisfy every field of your life all at once. That's a good thing. That's fine, and not a good thing necessarily, but it's fine because these are long-term habits, right? And you should also use them. I didn't mention this, I should have probably did, but you should use them the way they make sense. So, for example, say you're in a summer vacation, right? It would make more sense to focus more on your business side of things, and at least it depends on the case again, because maybe you're in a summer vacation and you can really go out with friends now, then do that. But for a lot of people, summer vacation means a lot of free time, and not really a lot of time hanging out with friends, because I don't know, it's just people are gone on vacation and stuff, right? This is a good time for you to work on your business. Likewise, if you're going to college, going to high school, whatever, it's like the first few days there, or you get used to the people, you start talking to the people. It makes more sense to focus more on your social side of things, because it's something new, it's a novelty, and you would always have time for the other things, right? Like, it's kind of stupid to go to college and then after some days they're like, your friends are like, yo, let's go out tonight, let's go to the club, and you're like, oh no, I gotta see the sunrise tomorrow, I gotta wake up early. That would be stupid, because you just met these people. You're potentially gonna create lifelong friends of this one basically event, right? You're kind of a butterfly effect type of thing, because if you just met someone, the first few interactions are very important, right? You should take every chance to really develop the relationship, and that would be stupid to go because, oh no, I don't want to deteriorate my health, like, I get that, but you watch the sunrise every other day, you know what I'm saying? So, or every day, right? So it doesn't make sense to not take up on that offer. Not every day you're gonna meet new people, right? So do what makes sense, prioritize what makes sense in that moment. If it makes sense to work, then work. Makes sense to do this, Maybe you just failed the business. Well, it would make sense to reevaluate your health, clear your mind a little bit, meditate, go on long walks, things like that. Just, you kind of know what you need to focus on right now, what's really lacking for you right now, what's something you haven't really done in a while, and do that. And if the environment allows you to, go with the environment. Don't go against the current, You don't have to be a degenerate in college and not work at all. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying that you should build friendships there. You should, one of your main priorities should be, the social aspect, because, well, you're not going to have these opportunities probably ever in your life, right? Unless you really go out for them, like joining clubs and stuff. So yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to say. Hopefully, I sparked up a little spark, I guess, in your brain. And yeah, see you next video or next podcast. I never say this, but I do have a podcast on Spotify, and it's on Apple Music too. I'm not sure. I think it is. But I should probably put it on YouTube Music too. But yeah, so anyways, see you next episode.